Hi there, I'm Tessa from Tales from Outside the Classroom, and today I'm going to show you how I set up and use Google Forms with my students. So first we're going to go to a blank Google form. This is what I get when I go to Drive and just click New Form. Right away, I like to customize the theme by changing the color. There aren't a ton of options here, but they give you a few. You can change the overall color and then change the background color. You're also able to change the style. I like to stick with basic so it's easy to read. You can upload a custom image if you would like. That image can be something you find from the web or something you design on your computer related to this. First place we're going to go is the heading. I like to make the heading related to whatever it is I'm teaching to make me find what were this form in my Drive later. You also can use this box to attach it to a specific standard if you would like. You can use this box to write objectives or I can statements. You also could do just a little message to your students in this box as well. And now onto the questions. So we default to the first box. It's defaulted always to multiple choice. I like to do the first one as students' names. So once I put in name and come to click over, I'm going to click it to a short answer so they can put their name in. And then I'm going to turn on required so that that's always the first question. In the settings up here, you also can put collecting email responses as required. Students then have to type in their email address first thing, and that box defaults to being up here immediately. Because I teach third graders, I don't like doing that, and I just have them put their name, but it's up to you, and if you would like to use that. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, but I'm going to walk through some of the other settings here as well. If you turn on email addresses, you can require only one response from that email address. And you also can have settings where students can see a summary of all of the responses and edit their work after submission. Because I use these for academic purposes, I don't turn these on. I do, however, come over to quizzes and turn this on as a quiz. What this does is assign point values and allows the system to grade it itself. The quiz defaults to immediately grading after each submission. If you have open-ended questions in here, you can turn it on for manual review. I'm going to come here. You can also change settings so students can see what they got wrong, students can see what they got right, and students can see point values. I like to leave those here. In the presentation tab, it just it allows you to change if there's a progress bar, which I don't turn on, shuffle the question order, and if students can have a link to submit another response. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And those are all of the big settings. This is still up here from me having it before. I'm going to go back and turn that back off again so it goes away. So question number 1 is done. Now I need to add a second question. So over here allows me to add different things. So I'm going to go ahead and click to add something else. So question number 2, I'm going to make just a multiple choice. What color is your favorite? It switched to short answer, but I'm going to make it multiple choice and give several options. Because I turned this on as a quiz, there is an answer key here. So I'm going to go to the answer key and select blue as the favorite color. And this shows there's a check mark. If this was an open-ended question, I could change the point value here. Add answer feedback allows you to put feedback based on what students got wrong. So remember the color I use to decorate our classroom. You can link students on an incorrect answer to a tutorial video, whether that's one you've made yourself or one they might find somewhere else. So this is especially helpful if you're doing e-learning with your students or independent work where you want your students to get very direct feedback based on what they get wrong. You also can give feedback for correct answers. Of course, I wouldn't just put good work on every correct answer. I'm just showing you the options that are here. So I'm going to go ahead and click save here, and it shows you what you have done. When you are done working on the answer key for this question, you just click done and it comes back. So you can see here that that is the correct answer choice. I make every one of my questions on my forms required, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. One of the nice things about Google Forms is the ability to duplicate. So it immediately creates another one, and then I can quickly and easily edit this one. Right now, of course, because I'm in this video, my computer froze just a bit, but I'm going to change this to a similar one. Going to come in the answer key and change it to something else, and then click done, and we're ready to go. Now I could have changed the answer feedback or anything like that that I might have wanted. Now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this again for speed. But I'm going to change this to checkboxes. Checkboxes means there's more than one correct answer. So I'm going to change this again and make it worth 3 points because there were 3 correct answers. You could still keep it at 1 if you wish. I like to have the number of points based on the number of answers here, and then click done. So these answer choices stayed here despite me changing it from multiple choice to text boxes. I'm going to go ahead and go to an existing form I have to walk you through some of the other ways I have had this set up. So this is a form I currently use that's divided into sections. So you can add sections by using this menu bar item, and basically what it does is separate these questions from another. On the regular form, I believe I have this one here, it looks like this. So you don't move on to the next section until that section is complete. So this is especially nice with quizzes or something where you don't want students to get overwhelmed with everything that's there. It allows you to group specific question types together, but it makes it a much easier, friendly to look at format in the beginning. So this section, that quiz is a different quiz, but set up the same way with these 2 parts of this first section here. This one I have with vocabulary as a separate section, so I have these questions here. So you can see I have a multiple choice one here as my question number 1, but then my question number 2, I have added an image. So I'm going to go ahead and come in here and show you how I did that. So this is a short answer question. But once I did that, actually, I'm going to go to the blank one to show you how to do that. Sorry, I'm going to add a new question here, and I'm going to make it multiple choice, but I can click this image option to then get the image box, and I can upload something on my own. I can access my camera. I can paste a specific URL. It will access my Google Photos, my Google Drive, or I can do a Google image search. So I'm going to search for a red car, select it, insert, and the red car gets displayed here. I come to these 3 dots. I can quickly change it out. I can add a caption if needed. I can remove it, or I can work on the alignment because this is big. It already kind of fit on its own, but with something small like I had in mine, aligning it is nice. And then I can again change these here. So coming back to this one, there are several image ones in here before I move on to my next section. This next one is a short answer. Again, I've added an image, but my short answer means students can type in their responses. Short answer just basically means it is open-ended. I can also change it to paragraph, which means there is more space. The box moves with this responses, things like that. I keep most of mine short answer because that is enough space and it doesn't overwhelm students, making them think they have to type a whole lot. So moving back to this one, I'm going to go to a new question type again, just so I can show you some of the other options that are here. A dropdown is just like multiple choice. You put the options, you put your options here just as you would for multiple choice. And then, there, it's letting me know I already had that. And I make this required, and then it'll be presented to students as a dropdown. I will show you what that looks like with this preview button. So this shows you how this quiz is currently set up. Scroll down, and now you can see that that drop-down option is there. So you can do it as multiple choice or as a drop-down, and it's not a significant difference. Coming to a new question type, I'm going to show you a multiple choice grid. So you can change what is on the rows. You can change what is on the columns. And you can require a response in each row if you would like. So I'll show you what that looks like as well. So we're going to go ahead and reload that preview, come down here, and what this does is a response in each row for each column, one per column. So this is nice if you put your numbers on the columns. How many books did you read on day 1? 3, 4, 5. How many books did you read on day 2? 3, 4, 5. It just is a way of giving students several options. Coming to a different question type, instead of multiple choice grid, we can make a checkbox grid, which is very similar, just allows students to place a checkbox. So it allows them to select more than one per column. So we're going to do it the other way than I showed you previously. Require response in each row, and then I'm going to reload my preview by just refreshing it here actually. And then you can see that here. So I can select 2 and 3 because this is a checkbox. I can have 3 on more than one, and I can have an answer choice here. So that's the big difference between these two, is this only allows you to have 1 per row, but this one allows you to do several per row. So if you want a checkbox grid, just like the multiple checkbox grid here, or multiple checkboxes here, this one allows students to choose more than 1 per row. So last one I want to show you is the linear scale. So this does a scale from 1 to 5 as default, but you can change that up to 10, and you can change what the label is. Again, I make that required, and again, reload that preview to show you what that looks like. And students can only select 1 per row. So the label just labels what one would be, what the far other side would be. It doesn't label each option choice. So those are the major ways I use the different question types here. Walking through a couple other things, you can import questions. So if you wanted to take them from other forms, you could do that. You can add a title and description throughout. So coming back to the one I've made, I've added titles and descriptions into each one of my sections. which is helpful as you are walking through one specific lesson. You can insert images and videos, so you can search on YouTube for videos to upload. So that's tutorial videos. That might be a video you have on your own hosted YouTube channel, anything like that. You are able to move these. So if you want to reorder, you use those dots and drag it up. So that's nice with reordering question numbers after you've gotten started. This menu bar also goes with you as you work. The total points are counted along the way as you work. Sometimes I notice I don't have the correct number of points. So I always come back and come to the answer key and relook and adjust. So this one, because there are 3 rows, it did 1 per row. But let's say I have more than one answer choice and again want to increase that. So I can come in and do that even after I have worked my way through other questions. One other piece that is nice for the forms I want to show you is the response tab. So you can see several different pieces of responses. It accepts responses by default right away, and your student responses automatically get displayed here for you. So this one, these are my previews. This form, I have already walked through the responses. So it defaults to showing you a summary, shows you the average score. On a graph, it shows frequently missed questions, gives you respondents' names, and then walks you through each of the questions. You can come to look at the responses by question, which is super helpful if you are doing multiple open-ended questions. So you can grade responses one question at a time by scrolling through. So I'm going to go to one of my open-ended ones, and then I can come through and mark each student's answer choice correct pretty quickly and easily because it's right here. I can also look at an individual student's responses in one spot. So if I want to see how one student did on the test, I can scroll through here. Now, right now, there's only one response here, so I can't see as many, but once you have all of your students do it, all of them will be displayed in this one place. You can also print your students' responses. So my dialog box will load here, and it'll show you what that looks like. So it's every question again with those individual students' responses. So this is nice for sending home to parents if you would like to do that so they can see how their students performed on the quiz. You're also able to delete those student responses. If you would like to have a spreadsheet of all of your students' responses, you can do that by clicking here on this Create Spreadsheet tab, and it creates one in your Drive. This is really helpful, not necessarily if you're doing this as a quiz, but if you're having students fill out a form as a survey, or if you are having them fill out the form to document the books that they've read. So you can sort by student name, you can sort by book title, anything like that. So coming back to the original one, working on, once I click inside the heading box over here, it defaults to what my title is, which is nice. And now we're ready to share the form with our students. So I'm going to go ahead and click send, and that gives me the link that I can send the form to be completed. So I can type in email addresses, which isn't something I typically do because I typically share it with my students. So the way I most often access it is from this link here. You can shorten the URL if it's something that students are going to have to type in on their own. But if you're sharing it on Google Classroom or anything like that, it doesn't need to be shortened, and you can just click on copy here or Control-C to get the link. And then once you paste it in, students or whoever are ready to complete it on their own. So this is a quick run through on how you can use Google Forms to create a survey or a quiz for your students. Even if you are doing it as a quiz, but not grading it as a quiz. There are still many features that provide helpful information to your students as they are working independently. I hope you have found this helpful. Good luck.